Mushoku Tensei Season 1 left me like, oh my god, there's fighting everywhere, there's character development, there's pain, there's happiness, there's horniness. Although, the first part of Mushoku Tensei Season 2 will leave you like, a slice of life? Where the main objective is fixing someone's ED? Weird, but I'm in. But the second half of Mushoku Tensei Season 2 will leave you just speechless, shattered, shocked, taking the anime from an incredible fantasy tale into a story that hits on sadness, happiness, anxiety, peace, and even despair. It's a season that easily clears everything that came out this year. Wait, what did you just say? How many wives does he end up with? With the follow-up season, most anime either drop the ball or completely lock the fuck in and get hit with the permanent state of 3 AM motivation and ascend to a higher level and elevate every aspect of their game. Think Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 going from a great anime to becoming the most popular anime of this generation. If you want a bad example, look at Promised Neverland. Jesus Christ, the writers of that anime should be punished by having to watch the presidential debate on loop for 30 days straight. Jesus! Now, Mushoku Tensei was in a much different position than most of these other pieces. You see, Mushoku Tensei really can be broken down into 4 seasons, with the first 12 episodes leading up to Turning Point, the second 12 episodes with Eris and Rudeus, the next 12 being ED Rudeus going to Hogwarts, and then finally Zenith Recovery. Now you may be thinking, no shit, it's not like One Piece where you stay in the same place for 200 episodes, and you're right, except Mushoku Tensei's use of seasons feels so much more different than any other anime. And that is due to the importance of time in the story. You see, most anime just completely disregard time, as if it's a non-factor in the story, and I mean that in a very literal sense. Like, all of One Piece post-time skip taking place in like 3 months, which really just takes you out of the story when you think about it like that. Except in Mushoku Tensei, years and months go by during the seasons, and even in between seasons, that when it comes to every season of the show, you're re-establishing characters in the world every single time. And in terms of how that affected the newest installment in Mushoku Tensei, we're about to break that down and talk about how it took the traditional Mushoku Tensei formula and created what is easily the most emotional season of the show yet, as well as the most mature season that took an otherwise pretty dark show to the next level of darkness in the deep emotional sense. Now, Mushoku Tensei Season 2 being split into 2 parts is pretty annoying, so for the sake of this video, the ED era will be referred to as Season 2, and the second half will be referred to as Season 3. But a majority of the discussion is going to revolve around Season 3 with a few references to our ED buddy over there. And if you don't want ED, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share this video with at least 1,000 different people. But seriously, the support on these videos has been absolutely incredible, and I appreciate every single comment I get. So please leave a like and let's get back to it. Now, when you first jump into Season 3 of Mushoku Tensei, it seems like it's about to be a slice of life ride focused on Rudeus and Slyphie getting married and settling into adult life, much like how Season 1 didn't have too much going on until Rudeus went to go train Eris. But that was not the case at all. Instead, out of absolutely nowhere, and I mean nowhere, Nanahoshi, a character most of us completely forgot about, shocks us out of any type of peace and calmness we had in the story. And I know we were all sitting there watching Season 3 like, ooh, something's about to go down at some point. It's way too chill right now. Something is just gonna explode again or send everyone away. Even knowing that, I think we were all shocked that it was Nanahoshi that smacked us out of that gleeful state, but one of the most insane rants of all time. If you need a quick refresher, Nanahoshi got Isekai during Turning Point 1. Shout out to the comments of the last video. Then she was hanging around with this world Sukuna whilst doing everything in her power to return home. She discovered Rudeus was also from Rio, Japan, and they've seemingly been working together to get her back home. There's a scene where after a failed experiment, she kicks Rudeus out of the room to then turn up one of the craziest tantrums we've seen in anime this year, and probably one of the best voice acting performances we've seen this year as well. And throughout this juxtaposition of her and Rudeus, it becomes clear what the story is trying to tell us, and one of the most eye-opening realizations we've had. Rudeus, unlike her, has obviously taken advantage of his second opportunity of life and is trying to redeem himself, and even found himself a wife and home and many more friends than he had prior. And every element of the story is focused on him becoming better than he was in his previous life, and his attitude at this time was giving off this ignorant and selfish happiness. Because despite the fact that he was trying to be better, let's call a spade here. Based off his old life, he probably has no idea what it actually feels like to lose your friends. because he had none to begin with. Whereas Nanahoshi, on the other hand, clearly did have a good life, and now she has spent 6 years, 2,190 days, 52,560 hours trying to get back home. Everyone goes this super deep route when trying to break down her character. Oh, she lost her friends, her family, her life, she lost everyone she loves, and like, nah, don't get me wrong. What you saying is the truth, but think about this on a more practical level. She ain't got no phone, no games, no TV. They ain't even got proper toilets out there. She want water. She gotta go down to the river. You gotta go hunt if you don't like the food. Like, yeah, friends and all that shit. That's important. Don't get me wrong. But you making a whole lot of equally as important sacrifices that you gotta calculate, if you feel me. Like, no toilet, that shit is wild. But taking in her deep and dire situation, and I think Mushoku Tensei fans were surprised that a side character can do something like that. But I think as anime fans, we expect big booms, explosions, and death to be what changed the story, not something as deep and sad as this. Although they do a kumbaya Disney resolution to this mini arc, with everyone helping her, it showed the audience that although the larger narrative was being slowed down, there was still going to be a lot of deep and serious character moments. And nothing with that part of the season compares to when they quadruple down it, and I mean serious knife to the fucking heart level of sadness that comes from the next part of the season. And who transitions us to that is none other than Norn and Aisha. When it came to the point where Norn and Aisha were introduced into the story, it really made everyone step back and go, wait a minute, wait, just a minute. Something bad has to happen. And with these two here, I do not know something bad is gonna happen. So something must be afoot. And then when you broke it down, you're like, okay, Aisha may be obsessed with Rudeus, but the other one might try and kill him in his sleep or do something bad. But what came instead was some of the worst emotional damage you will ever see in a series until the end of this season, where it's even worse. But on the surface, it seems like their introduction was pretty basic. Aisha is the sister content to be a maid who's freakishly obsessed with Rudeus, perfect at magic, and can literally talk to a wall for hours if needed, and is really happy 24/7. And then you have Norn, who hates Rudeus with all his being. Not only that, she's shit at literally everything, can't talk to anyone, and hates everything except Rudeus, Paul, and occasionally Aisha. And now, in this section of the video, I'm gonna prove why her inclusion makes her better than every character in My Hero Academia, you know, that show everyone forgot about. Alright, so let's jump into her introduction. No, her actual introduction. Okay, not that introduction. I mean, yes, this one. Where she sees her brother beating the shit out of her dad, and god damn, he doing him worse than Khabib did Connor.
Today, smash.
Let's jump ahead a bit though. They just had some small interactions in between, nothing too serious, and then boom, she's gotta live with him. And the only thing she's heard about him since she saw him beat the shit out of Paul is a glaze fest. A absolute glaze fest to the absolute max. Like, you gotta have his face tattooed on you level glaze fest that came from Lilia, Aisha, Rudeus, and Paul. And like, Jesus Christ, let's just think about this for a second now. When you're with your homies, right, and they're hyping something up, a movie up, a person up, they talking all this shit about how it's all perfect and it's all that, you gotta sit there and be like, alright, that's cool. You think it's all that? But me personally, fuck that shit. And when Norn met Rudeus, she was like, fuck you. And all of a sudden, we see Rudeus be looked at in an entirely different light. More as a self-loathing and selfish character. And Rudeus comes off as just being too happy. It's like, this dude isn't happy because of everything going on in his life. He's just way too clueless to be anything else. And all of a sudden, this comes to a climax when his dumbass thinks someone's bullying Norn. And all brawn, no brains over here thinks he's about to go save the day. And instead, he makes a fool of himself, does this big act, seeming like he's the group leader. He gonna fix everything, he gonna figure it out, until he realizes he's the reason Norn is sad. And at that moment, he realized, wait, Norn is merely just a mirror of himself. But you can see it on his face that he now understands everything, and he understands that he is at fault. And Mushoku Tensei has never been scared to put Rudeus down, and no other moment in the series humbled him emotionally like Norn did here. The anime displayed this perfectly by rerunning the events through Norn's perspective, showing off how obvious her feelings were that Rudeus blatantly ignored, and the depression that could come with expectations, and the loneliness that can come from failing to achieve. I think everyone at some point in their life has had to live up to something, to do something great, or be at least on par with everyone else and failed to reach that. Instead of just feeling down on yourself, you feel alone and completely black, and that's what this scene is here. And she can't go 10 feet without someone talking about this dude. And on top of all that, she's dog shit at magic. tragic. Like, she was pretty down bad. And it doesn't just make Rudeus feel shocked, but the audience as well has gone on this blissful run that did have the Nanahoshi blip, but wasn't directly pointed at Rudeus. But this is a nuke pointed at him. And those orbs that killed Rudeus last season. Eris broke Rudeus' heart. Sarah slapped the shit out of Rudeus. And you think, oh, he's got time to rest. He's been through enough. This is where it gets good for him. Nah. Norn came in to remind him that he's got a lot more work to do before he's at a point where he should be happy with. We start to think, okay, this season is showing excellent range in a series. Can you imagine if Jujutsu Kaisen took 5 episodes off to build up Itadori like this? Which they really should. Although this section felt somewhat slow, we could tell it was polishing Rudeus as a character. With the fact that Rudeus was having a kid, I think we all thought we knew where this series was going, showing off the difficulties of building and maintaining a family. And it was going to be a slice of life drama and become predictable and wholesome with some challenges that are all emotional. Let's just say we were completely fucking wrong. Rudeus expects a kid, which is true, but about 5 seconds later, he gets a letter requesting that he help them rescue Zenith. Here we go, a tool we've talked about time and time again. Choice. The ultimate weapon of any storyteller. To save one or lose another, the dark or the light, to leave or to go. The power of choice drives fiction, but the real world too in so many ways, and we as the audience are set in the utmost realization that this story was going to change and change fast. To save his old family or be there for his new family, while throwing in the fact that these people aren't his actual family in any capacity. Sylphie is a relationship he built up, and then the man god comes in like a wrecking ball. It basically says, be careful what you choose because you're gonna fuck something up regardless. But he chooses to stay until the character that was built up earlier in Norn was like, fuck you, bitch. Like, you just gonna sit here and do nothing? Like, I'll just go do this shit myself because you're a coward, you're a bum. And then at that moment, Rudeus is like, damn, my ass just got cooked, and that convinces him to get up and go. And it's just like, sheesh, man. They knew what they were doing. The writers knew they had something with Norn. When Rudeus chooses to go, his journey there was about the runtime of 1 episode. And honestly, it was the only real pointless moment in the season. And maybe I'm just TikTok brained out or something. It was cool to see them move throughout the world just because the world is so cool. But I don't know if it was needed. When they eventually get to Paul's group, I think it was more funny than it was deep. Our boy, the friend to all and Paul, just gets on his hands and knees and starts apologizing to Elenise like crazy. And it's like, is this dude's natural position? Like, he always doing something to get himself in some kind of trouble. And then we realized Roxy got stuck in the labyrinth and everyone is freaking out, going crazy, like, oh my god, Roxy's gonna die, all this. And it's supposed to be super serious, but instead I couldn't help but think of that scene from Naruto when he goes to save them in the land of waves but gets stuck in Haku's mirrors as well. It's like, dude, you are the help, but instead your ass is just helpless. Anyways though, it was really nice to see all these characters like Lilia and Paul start actually treating Rudeus like a proper adult instead of that weird prodigal son sort of attitude they had towards him before. But the moment of Rudeus rescuing Roxy, the art direction as a whole was really sick and contributed well to the vibe of the labyrinth. And pretty much immediately you were like, something is off here, man. Roxy, she being a little touchy right now. She really clinging on to Rudeus. And then Paul drops his line. And you're like, holy shit, he's gonna marry her too, isn't he? And then you're like, holy shit, he's gonna marry Eris too at some point. Remember, I'm an anime only. I don't know if that's true, but it's definitely true without needing it confirmed. And I don't know if there's too much controversy behind Roxy and her design. There's a whole nod to it in the finale, and honestly, with things like this, it's like, why do you make her so tiny? It's kind of just awkward and weird. Like, there's a lot of ways to give off the vibe you're going for without making her look like a literal child. But I know these kind of statements are going to cause a whole lot of arguments in the comments. So long story short, would it be the end of the world if they designed her character like more like an actual adult? Anyways though, this does play into a really serious realization for Rudeus that comes to a head after their first fail when trying to retrieve Zenith. Because Paul may be an idiot, but he really is sitting there like, why does Rudeus really not give a shit about his mother? Like, this dude is up here having a time with Roxy while Zenith is literally frozen behind a Hydra, and he doesn't care at all. He's just sitting there perfectly calm. I think it goes to show that he views Paul more as a friend than he does a dad, and he never really developed a relationship with Zenith in the first place. Like I alluded to earlier, he cared for them, but mainly as friends who've helped him or acquaintances along the way. Because throughout the story, it's always easy to forget that at his base, Rudeus is a grouchy shut-in that hated the world, and every change he's made has come from an adjustment of that base. But he still lacks empathy and has a cold view towards people at times, and although he cares for them, he doesn't feel love towards them. Or at least, that's what he thinks. The battle for Zenith raged on, and it was one of the most compelling action sequences the series had to offer. Mushoku Tensei does action so much better than most anime because you can actually tell there's an objective to what's going on, a plan being attempted to be executed in real time, showing off a decent sense of tactics. When the plan goes awry and Rudeus hesitates for a moment, it results in Paul taking a blow. And that shot, that eerie and dark and brutal shot of Paul's body, is one of the most intense scenes of the year for a character so important to Rudeus, someone the audience is so connected to for so long. It shocks the viewer's emotions. Not only was it Rudeus' fault, but they did achieve their goal of rescuing Zenith, only to lose Paul. And I feel at the beginning of the series, it felt pointless how much time we were spending with Paul and Zenith. And now we sit back and understand that it was just building up to this moment. Not only in our heads, but the truth becomes clear to Rudeus that he does in fact care about Paul, more than he ever realized. And it was all coming tumbling down. Not only was he at fault for Paul's death, but Zenith was no more than a corpse, and they really had come out with nothing. And while he was there, like a skeleton, brooding in his own emotion, Roxy came in and was like, now is my time. Like, she's like, nah. She seriously fully took advantage of this situation. Like, nothing warranted all that. She did not need to take it to that place to get him out of that depression. She could have taken him for a walk, made him some breakfast, but nah, she was trying to live in that big house and live with the magic man. That was so messed up. She fully knew what she was doing. But jokes aside, I wasn't joking. If you're going to somehow sell Rudeus wanting another wife, that is probably the way to do it. And I'm sure that's going to be controversial. And honestly, I think it's a good thing for society if that's controversial. And then the last moment of this whole season was Norn's rant. And honestly, she is literally the embodiment of everyone that hates Rudeus as a character. Like, for real, this dude brought back Zenith with no memory. He lost an arm. Paul is dead. And now he coming back with a bunch of mouths to feed, another wife. Like, honestly, she was spinning. This dude really did nothing to achieve getting another wife. He completely disrespected Sophie. Sophie just accepting it was not surprising at all. But someone had to say it, and she did absolutely fry him in that rant. Until, though, Rudeus did cook her with that line about Lilia, because at the end of the day, Paul did marry twice too. Now, in terms of animation, I know everyone's comparing it to season 1, but guys, season 1 had some of the best animation and direction of any show ever. There really wasn't enough moments across all of season 2 that warranted doing all of that. There's not that many action sequences, and it's not like the animation isn't good enough. The art style still holds up, and the direction of each episode is still thoughtful and creative. So stop complaining, unless you want season 3 to drop in like 5 years. But Mushoku Tensei just elevated so far above everything else this summer and spring season for me, showing off better character development than most series, showing off rich fantasy elements, understanding character dynamics, putting time and detail into every single character. Maybe it doesn't reach the full height season 1 reached, but it was still really damn good. If you enjoyed this video, why don't you check out this breakdown on Zuko being the best character in fiction, and don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and we're just getting started. We're gonna stay consistent, and I will see you in the next video.